Hey guys, it's time to take a news dump. That wasn't a dump.
It was, yeah.
It's a news squeak.
False start. Anyways, nowadays every beloved movie or TV show in existence gets remade eventually, and the results are usually garbage. But it just keeps on happening because it's cheaper and less risky for studios to feed audiences something they've already eaten than to come up with something brand new.
Yeah.
Now, not all remakes are terrible. I mean, yes, the vast majority of them are.
Yep.
Actually, most of the good remakes are movies that were made in the 80s based on movies from the 40s and 50s. This is the truth.
Yes.
But the movies being made today that are remakes of stuff from the 80s and 90s are almost always shit, especially when the movie being remade is considered a classic.
Mm-hmm. So the recent news that Escape from New York is getting remade has a lot of people feeling rightfully skeptical or just angry. John Carpenter's 1981 film was extremely influential, inspiring almost everything in dystopian fiction to come after it, as well as being a clear and obvious influence on Hideo Kojima's Solid Snake. The basic plot premise is that in the near future, the US government decides to turn the island of Manhattan into a giant maximum security prison where all prisoners have life sentences and everyone just kind of roams freely trying to survive. The president is riding on Air Force One to a big peace summit between the US and the Soviets when the plane gets hijacked and he gets away in an escape pod just in the nick of time. But he lands inside Manhattan.
Uh-oh. Yeah, so the president quickly gets captured and held hostage by the top crime boss in the prison, who I believe is played by Isaac Hayes. I don't remember. But yeah, the government, now they got to get him out of that. So they come up with a plan. They send in Snake Plissken, a former Special Forces soldier and convict who has just 24 hours to rescue the president, or a bomb injected into his neck is going to explode and kill him. So Snake sneaks into Manhattan to track the president down and, along the way, encounters lots of colorful characters and violent situations. The movie's honestly, if you watch it now, it's a bit quaint and slow-paced by today's standards, but it did pioneer a lot of things when it came out, and it's rightfully viewed as a cult classic these days.
Yeah, if you want to watch the version of this movie where they just shove everything in your face and is actually basically a remake of it.
Yeah, this is another like Ghostbusters situation where it's like, how much more could you hurt me than the canonical sequel already did?
Yeah, Escape from LA is definitely a gem for in certain aspects, I should say. It is...
It's like you took the original movie and just doused it in like Mountain Dew.
And confetti. As a child, I loved it.
They surf on a tidal wave.
Uh-huh.
It's great.
Steve Buscemi's in it.
Oh yeah.
It's actually quite good looking back, but it does kind of shit all over the original, let's be honest. So anyways, this week it came out in The Hollywood Reporter that Fox is finalizing a deal with Upgrade writer-director Lee Wannell to write and possibly direct Escape from New York, a remake of it. Just a week after it was announced that he'd also be tackling The Invisible Man for Universal's next attempt at reviving their Monsters franchise. So apparently he's a fixer?
Send me in.
Yeah.
I'll fix it.
Escape from New York, it might seem like sacrilege. It should be, though, somewhat reassuring that the guy making it is most known for recently making a very 80s influenced and specifically Carpenter influenced sci-fi action thriller that a lot of people really liked.
Yeah, so of course this could also end up just not happening at all, because just 2 years ago, Fox had another writer signed on to make an Escape from New York remake, and nothing ever came of it. Mm-hmm. And that's good, because it sounded terrible. All the early script details that leaked indicated that it wouldn't even feature New York City turned into a giant prison, which is sort of a central plot device to the whole fucking thing. So what are you doing? Anyway, that's not happening. But if anything, we hope John Carpenter gets brought in on board with this one in some capacity, if only to give his blessing, because that's what happened with the Halloween remake from Danny McBride and David Gordon Green, and that ended up being pretty great.
At least bring him back to do the soundtrack.
I know, yeah.
I've been playing a lot of Division 2 on the beta, and that soundtrack is 100% inspired by John Carpenter in the 80s.
The man is a visionary.
Yeah. Also, like, there's a couple things here. I think it's Escape from LA. It might be an Escape from New York, too. It's been a while since I've seen both, but they always make mention of, like, some big thing that Snake Plissken did in Cleveland.
No, he broke into the Federal Reserve in, Denver, Colorado.
Oh, okay. So, yeah, maybe just do that.
Then he was also, like, involved in some, like, raid on, like, Moscow or something. I don't know. Yeah, there's a lot of lore in there.
Also, back in the 90s, there was a rumor, and at this point, you could never verify it because it was the 90s. There was a big rumor for a while that they were going to make Escape from Earth, which would have been, I don't know, looking back now, if it was made in like 97 or 98, probably would have been fucking awesome in retrospect.
Basically, the plot of Elysium was that Earth is a giant
snake
prison.
Anyways, one reason why this remake may not end up happening, though, is that it sounds like Fox is in absolute chaos behind the scenes while everyone there waits to find out whether or not they even have a job after the Disney-Fox merger goes through. A new article out of The Hollywood Reporter takes a detailed look into the paranoia and despair happening at Fox. And we don't envy these people at all. Mainly because it all sounds oddly familiar to certain experiences we've had at certain companies at certain times. But hey, back to that Escape from New York thing. If they're gonna do it, why wouldn't you just get his son, Wyatt Russell, who looks almost exactly like his dad and has proven himself to be a fantastic actor.
Wyatt? He literally named him after the character he played in Tombstone?
I think that's his name. But he was amazing in Everybody Wants Some.
Yeah.
And in Black Mirror.
Yeah.
And he's probably done other stuff.
He was in what was that Aubrey Plaza movie where she stalks
Ingrid Goes West?
Yeah,
he's great in that too.
Ingrid Goes West. He's a good actor, yeah.
Hey, Fox, we give out free ideas all the time, and some of them are bad, but this one's really good and you should do it. He's right there.
Here's the thing, Fox, I don't think they're writing down any of our ideas because that Hollywood Reporter article about the goings on at Fox, it's wow. So here's some examples. At one point, a mass email about the parking lots being at capacity the next day had hundreds of people on the Fox lot convinced that an army of Disney HR people and lawyers would be showing up the next day to fire everyone. It ended up just being rehearsals for Rent Live, though, but
even worse.
They all had a good scare there.
Even worse.
A lot of the executives already have most of their offices just like boxed up and sent to storage. Everyone's just sort of waiting for the day they find out their jobs and the 84-year-old studio that they work at are just going to go poof and disappear. And they have a word that they refer to that day as D-Day, as in Disney Day.
Oh, okay. I get it now.
There's apparently there's a bunch of huge email chains and group chats. Anytime that high-level Disney executives show up on the Fox lot, everyone just turns into a spy. People are tracking their every move and speculating on what they are up to.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
The anxiety sounds like it's happening from the top down, which even in the age of constant mergers and acquisitions, it's pretty rare.
Yeah.
But it's because it's unlike AT&T buying Warner Brothers. This is a major movie studio buying another major movie studio, and that means there's going to be a lot of redundancies. Estimates put it at between 4,000 and 10,000 people losing their jobs over the first year or so of the merger, especially in departments like marketing, distribution, and home entertainment. They're redundancies for a reason. Why do you need...
We're one company now.
When it's all said and done, Fox will just be a title card added to a few movies a year produced by a specific team at Disney, and everyone else is either getting fired or absorbed into what will be by far the biggest entertainment studio in the business. It's also like, in the meantime, and we went through this many times at a company we used to work for, where there were layoffs. Luckily, we weren't part of any of those layoffs that far back,
man,
but it definitely ruins productivity,
morale,
the entire time because you're just worried about losing your job more than doing your job.
People start quitting preemptively, and you're just like, oh, well, okay, bye. And then their job doesn't get filled. You're like, okay, that's interesting.
That's someone else's job now.
Well, all right.
Why don't you do the job?
Yeah. So a lot of people are going to be looking for new jobs, and because there's going to be one less major movie studio around, there's going to be fewer open jobs for them to go to. It echoes a lot of what's been happening in digital media over the past year. So, hey kid, you want to grow up and work in the pictures industry? Well, maybe just don't.
No, learn to code.
Don't do it. Yeah.
Learn to code.
Learn to code, dude.
Why don't these, producers and marketing people who have years of expertise and are probably packing away awards that they've won for their work, just learn to code.
Yeah, I mean, Coding for Dummies. You can get the audiobook.
Very easy.
Khan Academy, it's free.
Yeah, it's free right there on the internet.
But hey, a tiny bit of good news out of the Disney Fox deal is that Disney CEO Bob Iger said again, for like the second or third time, that Disney is absolutely not gonna mess with Deadpool, meaning that the Deadpool series will stay R-rated. So that's nice. Though you should probably also absolutely not expect Deadpool to ever cross over with any of Disney's Marvel properties.
You say that, but I wonder.
I don't.
They made a PG-13 version. They can definitely do it.
That's because they like money.
But the problem is, the Escape from New York remake, once it's in Disney's hands, is going to be PG-13, and you know that's true.
Oh, yeah.
You know that's true.
Absolutely.
Speaking of Disney Marvel, let's check in on what the hell's going on with Guardians of the Galaxy 3. Last we checked, director James Gunn was fired by Marvel and quickly hired by DC, and actors like Dave Bautista were rightfully pretty pissed off about the idea of Marvel handing the reins over to someone who isn't James Gunn. Making things extra complicated for Disney is the fact that James Gunn had a script for Guardians 3 ready to go at the time that he was fired, so a lot of people were worried that they'd be scrapping that altogether. But thanks to a new interview with Christian man Chris Pratt, who
he loves his Jesus and he's
sticking to it,
and no comment about the gays though.
But he certainly apparently attended a church that is very anti-gay.
Hillsong. Yeah, it's the cool church. The cool kids church.
Chris, what are you doing, buddy? Anyways, apparently they're not scrapping it, and they're sticking with James Gunn's script. So,
boom. Now that still leaves the question of who's going to direct it, if it ever even gets made. A lot of people saw Taika Waititi's work on Thor Ragnarok and felt like he might be the best choice to replace James Gunn, but he has now gone on the record saying, that's not going to happen. Here's the quote. For me, those are James's films. Going into something like that with his stamp all over his films would be like going into someone's house and saying, hey, I'm your new dad, and this is how we make peanut butter sandwiches now.
It
feels kind of awkward. Yeah. He literally used the quote we used about the Ghostbusters 4 years ago. Man. Anyway, yeah, what he's saying here makes sense. It's probably how a lot of directors feel about the idea of taking over Guardians. This is like when two people break up and one of them is like now trying to date all the other person's friends, and they're like, no.
Here's the thing. If we know one thing, it's that studios make terrible decisions.
Yeah.
And you know what terrible decision that Disney's gonna make, especially with this acquisition stuff, they're gonna be like, man, you know who like killed it over at like Sony and like on so many other things for other studios? Paul Feig. Let's get Paul Feig in here to direct Guardians of the Galaxy.
Don't do it.
No, don't do it.
Don't fucking do it.
And then he'll put himself in the movie.
They'll probably just get Ron Howard. What can I say? I'm a ringer.
He's a fixer.
Yeah, he really is.
Yeah. Although no one could fix Solo, so.
Yeah. But yeah, Taika Waititi, he did say that he has been talking with Marvel about working with them again. So yeah, it'll be cool to see how that works out. But no Guardians for him.
No.
He's not going to do his buddy James dirty like that.
No.
And that's a sign of a true bro.
I also like to imagine that Warner Brothers now has a entire squad surrounding Suicide Squad 2, and they call it gun control. It's like, make sure this guy doesn't get a phone in his hands.
Yeah.
He's going to ruin this whole thing.
Yeah. They got a swear jar on set.
Taika Waititi, though, he's busy doing his own shit, so no room for Guardians.
Yeah, he's a busy man.
The What We Do in the Shadows FX series comes out at the end of March, and they recently released a full trailer showing off what looks like a pretty straightforward adaptation of the original movie, but set in America with a different cast, so that we can all understand them clearly.
Yeah. Even
that Kiwi accent is just too much.
But it's like all the vampires speak with like this fake Transylvanian accent, so like it almost doesn't fucking matter.
Yeah, it doesn't matter at all.
Yeah.
Anyways, Taika Waititi and Jermaine Clement being directly involved with the show as executive producers and writers means that this is probably going to be really great. So that's something to look forward to.
I'm excited.
Although FX is owned by Fox Disney.
They're going to put Donald Duck in it. This doesn't make any sense.
I can't understand this guy at all.
Why is Donald Duck in my vampire show?
Can you teach Donald Duck to speak American, please? He's also got a movie coming out later this year called Jojo Rabbit, and it sounds bonkers. It's a dark comedy that takes place in Nazi Germany and features Taika Waititi in the role of a little boy's imaginary friend, Adolf Hitler. Then he's also directing some episodes of that Star Wars series, The Mandalorian, for Disney, or that Plus app, or whatever the hell it is when it launches.
Yeah.
He's very busy.
He's a busy boy.
And rightfully so.
Good.
Does great work.
Good for him. Anyways, there wasn't really a lot of other news this week, but one bit of news that got the internet briefly feeling super uncomfortable was the return of deepfakes in the form of Steve Buscemi's face being superimposed onto Jennifer Lawrence's face, giving a Golden Globes interview, and it's horrifying. Not just because Steve Buscemi's old, wrinkly, bug-eyed face on Jennifer Lawrence's young, attractive body is extremely jarring, but also because we kind of just sort of forgot that deepfakes was a thing. Yeah. And now we're remembering, like, this is how lies are going to be told in the future.
It's frightening.
Yeah. Anyway, Stephen Colbert had Steve Buscemi on to talk about his new movie this week, and he, of course, brought this up, showed him the clip, and Buscemi's reaction to seeing it for the first time was to joke that he has never looked better, and to say, quote, "It makes me sad that somebody spent that much time on that, because I'll bet that was hard to do." Not as hard as you might think, Steve.
Yeah, no, it's pretty easy. But I love the original quote in all the articles was just, "It makes me sad," with no extra context.
Guys, I have feelings too.
So anyways, that's nice. Here's something not so nice. Gwyneth Paltrow. We previously did a whole segment on Weekly Weird News about how her company, the unfortunately named Goop, exists, and how their entire business model is selling overpriced pseudoscientific bullshit to women. And this week, pseudoscience scored a big win with Goop getting a Netflix deal.
Bloop.
So now even more gullible rubes will get to hear about how sticking a rock up your vagina turns you into Wonder Woman or some shit.
Yay.
Yeah.
We did it.
It's sad, kinda. Also, though, Gwyneth Paltrow has been sued this week for something that's pretty fucked up if true. A man is suing her for $3 million, claiming that she crashed into him while skiing and broke his ribs, gave him a concussion, and then she just skied away. Didn't report his injuries to medics, just left him.
Wow.
Of course, it's just his side of the story, but it totally now sounds like something Gwyneth Paltrow would do. And I wouldn't have said that 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Seemed like a nice lady.
All right, he's breathing. Well, bye. Help!
Next, we're going to sign Jim Carrey's big anti-vaxxing documentary.
Is he still on that?
I don't know.
He's not with Jenny McCarthy anymore.
No, but I think, maybe it left a lasting impression on him.
The things we do for love. Wow.
If it was the 90s and Jenny McCarthy told me that we couldn't vaccinate our kids, I'd say, okay, that's fine. As long as
all right, Jenny, you don't need to single me out.
Hey, nice.
Anyways.
Celebrities can believe some pretty dumb shit sometimes.
Yeah.
Chris Pratt, what are you doing?
He's the next Kirk Cameron. He's like just a few steps short of being the next Kirk Cameron.
And he's going to turn that whole Schwarzenegger family.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Shit.
Yep, it's going to be bad.
Well.
Who would have thought Anna Faris was the level-headed one in the relationship? I love Anna Faris, though. She's fucking great.
I've
you
always
ever seen the movie Smiley Face? Go watch it.
You ever seen the movie Scary Movie? You ever seen the movie Scary Movie 2? You ever seen the movie Scary Movie 3?
We need a reboot, but with Anna Faris still in it.
Yeah.
Anyways, eat some weed brownies and watch fucking Smiley Face. That was my favorite movie when I smoked weed all day.
Wow.
Back then. Anyways, we have a lot of content for you to watch this week, but please check out an episode of Weekly Weird News where it's about a man fighting a cougar, but it's actually about a bunch of politicians wearing blackface. Also, what a story. The Jeff Bezos nude photo potential leak drama, it's an onion with a lot of layers to peel back, and we did our best to explain it as best we could for you. Please watch that, because there's a lot there outside of the surface level of just being like, oh, we get to see Bezos' dick, as if anyone wanted to see that. There's a lot there. Watch that episode. Hit the join button below. Go to Patreon. If you got $5 sitting around, maybe you got your tax return, throw $5 to the channel, because we got to pay taxes next, and we want to stick around doing this show for a while. So check out those videos and hit up the Patreon. We'll see you guys next week. Have a great weekend.
Bye-bye.